countries.
Yes, Mahin, now Iran, Turkey, Tunis and Lebanon have all held protests that favor the Palestinian population and who are victims of a great genocide.
Speaker National Assembly Raja Pervez Ashraf strongly condemned Israeli bombing of the hospital in Gaza. Speaker National Assembly expressed deep grief over martyrdom of more than 500 innocent Palestinians. Raja Pervez Ashraf said Israel should immediately stop the genocide of Palestinians. He said Parliament, people of Pakistan strongly appealed international community to intervene immediately, stop Israel from committing such atrocities.
एंड रोड फोरम के हवाले से तीसरा
As you can see on your screens, the BR Forum in China is currently ongoing. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a framework of regional connectivity. Again, the Prime Minister, Anwar al-Haqqaqi, is in Beijing.
And these are the live images that you're watching on your screens. This is a high-level forum on connectivity in an open, global economy. Of course, the world leaders are participating there, and we also heard President Xi Jinping addressing the world leaders there. Of course, it's a huge forum, and also Russian President Vladimir Putin also addressed. And this is a high-level forum on connectivity in an open global economy. This is connecting the region internationally. Many world leaders are coming forward to bring about the solutions that we as a global community are facing. Of course, this was mainly about the BRI Belt and Road Initiative that China had taken, and also Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqi is there to represent Pakistan, as CPEC is a flagship project of BRI, and we are seeing huge potential in this project. And we've also completed 10 years of CPEC, celebrating 10 years of CPEC, while Prime Minister Haqqaqi is there representing Pakistan amongst the world leaders there.
Yes, Mahi, now under the banner of the High Quality Belt and Road Cooperation Together for Common Development and Prosperity, the BRF has attracted delegates from over 130 nations and 30 international organizations. The discussions at the BRF are focused primarily on cooperation domains encompassing connectivity, sustainable development, and in the digital economy. Trade, people-to-people interactions, anti-corruption efforts, local collaboration, and ocean cooperation will be focal points at this forum. The BRF is centered on a worldwide collaboration that unfolds amidst a backdrop of multifaceted global challenges, including various conflicts all around the world, as well as a sluggish global economy. Again, the caretaker Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqi is in Beijing for the Third Belt and Road Forum. Along there, he has met the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, on the sidelines of the Third Belt and Road Forum. During the meetings, the Prime Minister had detailed discussions with the Secretary General of the United Nations and the situation arising as a result of the ongoing situation against the Palestinians in Gaza. Now, the Prime Minister has described the situation as extremely hostile and is in full support of the Palestinians, and it is declaring it as an inhumane and serious violation of human rights. Now, coming back to the BRI, the Belt and Road Forum, the Prime Minister of Pakistan has met the Kenyan President as well on the sidelines. He's also met the President of Russia as well as the President of Sri Lanka. He's also met the President of Kazakhstan, and all to improve bilateral ties between the countries respectively, regional situation, and the promotion of cooperation in trade and energy. Furthermore, Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqi is reaffirming Pakistan's commitment to expand bilateral cooperation with Russia in trade, investment, energy, connectivity, defense, intelligence sharing, and counterterrorism.
Of course, Naila, caretaker Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqi, at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping, is in Beijing to participate in the Third Belt and Road Forum. And of course, this has a theme of connectivity in an open global economy. Prime Minister will dilate upon development successes achieved under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor over the last 10 years, as we are celebrating the 10 years. As well as he will be highlighting future goals and reaffirm Pakistan's cooperation on this key project. In a tweet before departure, Anwar al-Haqqaqi said he is looking forward to strengthening ties, engaging in dialogues, forging new partnerships, and promoting regional connectivity for a brighter future. During the visit, Prime Minister will also have bilateral meetings with Chinese leadership, including President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Keqiang, and other leading personalities. Besides, he will be meeting with the global leaders participating in the forum. Prime Minister will also hold meetings with top Chinese businessmen, including heads of large corporations and business giants, to discuss forging cooperation, including joint ventures in Pakistan. Number of agreements and memorandums of understandings are expected to be signed in the areas of agriculture, health, industry, green energy and space technology. Prime Minister will also be visiting Urumqi to meet with local leaders and businessmen to enhance trade, investment and people-to-people contact.
Now, Maheen, CPEC is a framework of regional connectivity, and as we know, it's an enhancement of geographical linkages, having improved road, rail, and air transportation systems with frequent and free exchanges of growth and people-to-people contact, which is a must in this modernizing and enhancing world. There needs to be further understanding through academic, cultural, and regional knowledge being shared between Pakistan and China. Now, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is one of those aspects that helps move towards economic regionalization in the globalized world, and it's based on peace, development, and it's a win-win model for all those parties involved, not just China and Pakistan, but all those participating in the Belt and Road Initiative. Again, the CPEC is just a framework of regional connectivity. Now, CPEC will not only benefit China and Pakistan, but it's also going to have a very positive and important impact on Iran, Afghanistan, Central Asian republics, and the region. And it is a milestone project that has completed 10 magnificent years.
Exactly, Naila. These were very important points that you highlighted, and right now we know that the caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar will be addressing the high-level forum with the theme of connectivity in an open global economy, and Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar will dilate upon development success that has been achieved under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor over the last 10 years, as well as highlighting the future goals and reaffirm Pakistan's cooperation on this key project. Of course, we know that in a tweet before departure, Anwarul Haque Kakar said he is looking forward to strengthening ties, engaging in dialogues, forging new partnerships and promoting regional connectivity for a brighter future.
Now, this is such a wonderful moment for the Prime Minister of Pakistan to be able to participate in such a magnificent event, which is the Belt and Road Forum. It is the third forum that is happening between all of these wonderful countries. Now, Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar has expressed gratitude to the Chinese president and the Chinese government for hosting such a magnificent event. And there on the sidelines, he met the Russian president, the Kenyan president, as well as the president of Kazakhstan and Sri Lanka. Various bilateral ties, regional situation, and the promotion of cooperation in trade and energy sector were just some of the aspects that were discussed. Again, the Prime Minister has reaffirmed his commitment that Pakistan is going to expand in bilateral cooperation with all of these countries, and in terms of trade, investment, energy, connectivity, defense, intelligence sharing, and counterterrorism, which is extremely important in this day and age. He's further strengthened the commitment while speaking to the Russian President Vladimir Putin in Beijing, and he said that in various candid discussions with them to strengthen ties and explore opportunities for mutual benefit.
And this is a very important meeting because this is not a bilateral meeting, Naila. This whatever we are seeing here, a much anticipated visit of Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar. This is a multilateral forum where world leaders are coming together, and this also shows Pakistan's desire for peace and Pakistan's desire for connectivity, be it any country in the South Asia. Of course, he also talked about Afghanistan, that he welcomed other countries as well, that they can take part in this prosperity project, including Afghanistan, because of course we know that peace of Afghanistan is imperative for peace of Pakistan. And not just that, he also talked about other countries. He also talked about expanding this project further, like CPEC, and he was talking about the investment and trade. And as we have entered the second zone and the industrial zone of the CPEC, where we are building special economic zones, where we need investments, where we need more people to come in and join this project, because this is going to be highly beneficial for a country like Pakistan, which wants to go on a path towards prosperity, towards better economy, and for that we would be needing to develop our hub, especially Gaza hub in Balochistan. And we have seen huge potential, we have seen huge development in our province, especially Balochistan and Gaza. And of course, we are looking forward for other memorandum of understandings for other projects that are in pipeline, especially ML1, which is going to be huge, just not for Pakistan, but of course it is going to help bring in more trade towards this region, help Pakistan build connectivity with the entire region. So that is why, Naila, it is very important for us to really look forward to what kind of solutions do we come up with in this forum, and what kind of things we do after this, and how we overcome the challenges that we are facing right now in the CPEC project, especially which is the flagship project of BRI. And also we talked to our former ambassador, Chinese ambassador, who talked about the most important aspect of the CPAC, where she said that skilled youth, skilled labor is very important. It is one of the factors that where we have to really focus on, and other areas as well. And in the longer run, if we see, it is going to create lots of job opportunities for the locals there. It is going to attract the foreign investments, foreign direct investments, and of course, we are seeing huge changes in the value of rupee as well. So overall, if we see, Naila, Pakistan is moving towards the right direction.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar did attend the state banquet at the iconic Great Hall of the Peoples in Beijing, hosted by the Chinese President Xi Jinping, and the dinner was hosted in honor of the world leaders participating in the Third Belt and Road Forum. The Prime Minister was accompanied by various senior members of the federal cabinet. Now, the state banquet was attended by various heads of states and governments such as Russia, Kenya, Ethiopia, Mongolia, Hungary, Sri Lanka, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Papua New Guinea, Mozambique, and Chile, among various other world leaders. Now, on his arrival at the banquet, the Prime Minister was given a red carpet reception, and he was welcomed by President Xi Jinping and the First Lady of China. On the occasion, the Prime Minister also held various informal interactions with the world leaders attending the event, and that was, for example, such as the one with the UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres, where he not only thanked him for highlighting the importance of the flood victims and provide them relief of last year, but also he highlighted the gross violations that are occurring in the Gaza Strip by the Israelis and the Israeli Defense Forces, and the Prime Minister further condemned the Israeli attacks on the innocent Palestinians and emphasized on immediate ceasefire as well as the delivery of aid to the victims, as there was a recent attack on a hospital which killed a great number of people, and primarily women and children were taking refuge in that hospital along with patients.
Right, exactly, Naila. I think this crisis is also very important because this project, this BRI project, is more like a continuation of the old Silk Route. So it's very important for China as well that these regional issues must be sorted out. The Middle East crisis that we are seeing, that you were talking about, it is very important for China as well to have it sorted out. Now, caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar, at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping, is in Beijing to participate in the Third Belt and Road Forum which has begun rather, and the Prime Minister is going to address the high-level forum with a theme of connectivity in an open global economy. And when we talk about connectivity, we also highlight and we also reiterate Pakistan's commitment to connect with various regions, to connect with different countries in terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of taking Pakistan to a higher level of prosperity, of course. And we also would be seeing a lot of global solutions coming up after this forum. We also heard President Xi Jinping addressing this forum and letting us know how important this whole project of BRI, how important this vision of China is for the entire world. And CPEC is the flagship project of BRI. And Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar will be talking about the development and the success that we have achieved under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor over the last 10 years, as well as he would be highlighting future goals and reaffirms Pakistan cooperation on this key project. And we also heard in a tweet, and we also saw in a tweet before departure, caretaker Anwarul Haque Kakar said he is looking forward to strengthening ties with the other countries, engaging in dialogues, and we know that he has met different world leaders on the sidelines of BRI and forging new partnerships and promoting regional connectivity for a brighter future. Now, during the visit, Prime Minister will also in fact, he had meetings with bilateral with other world leaders, and he will be also having meetings with Chinese leadership, including President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Keqiang, and other leading personalities. Besides, he will meet with the global leaders participating in the forum. And right now, we are watching this live from Beijing, where the global leaders are present. This is a high-level forum that is taking place in Beijing, and where Prime Minister Anwarul Haque is representing Pakistan, and he would be presenting his views to the world of what Pakistan thinks about connectivity, how far Pakistan has reached in terms of BRI and CPEC, and what future goals Pakistan has in the pipeline regarding the developmental projects or the SDGs or other economic developments.
Yes, Maheen. So the caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haque has firmly reaffirmed Pakistan's commitment to further expand and strengthen bilateral cooperation with Russia in the areas of trade and investment at the Belt and Road Forum, as well as in the fields of energy, connectivity, defense, intelligence sharing, and counterterrorism. He expressed the commitment while speaking to the Russian President Vladimir Putin in Beijing on the sidelines of the Belt and Road Forum. On the occasion, he stressed the need for the enhanced regional integration for economic development of the entire region. And he said that both the countries have a convergence of interests, especially on the issue of terrorism. He termed the bilateral cooperation as vital for the establishment of peace and security in Afghanistan. Now, the Prime Minister also said that we welcome Russian investment in the energy sector, which is a great initiative taken by the Prime Minister Anwarul Haque himself, stating that the Russian government and businessmen and various people who are interested in investing in Pakistan, they're all welcomed. And in his remarks, the Russian president furthermore said that stability is inevitable for ensuring economic progress. He said that there is a great deal of potential for economic cooperation between both the countries, and it's so much bigger than they are. And the Russian president vowed to take additional steps for enhancing this bilateral cooperation, and he highlighted the steps taken to ensure food security in at the international level. He said that Russia is planning to provide free cereals to the underdeveloped African countries as well. Now, both the leaders have discussed the prospects of enhancing Eurasian connectivity and Pakistan's pivotal role in the regional integration through rail, road, and energy corridors, which is proving to be excellent considering it is the Belt and Road Forum. They also exchanged views on the regional and global developments, including the evolving situation in the Middle East. Now, it is pertinent to mention that this year Pakistan and Russia are commemorating their 75th anniversary of establishing diplomatic relations. Now, that being said, the Belt and Road Forum has attracted delegates from 130 nations and 30 international organizations such as the United Nations, and it discusses various cooperation domains encompassing connectivity, sustainable development, and the digital economy.
Exactly,
this is very new.
And we also heard different world leaders talking, especially highlighting the progress of China's Belt and Road Initiative and charting the way forward. President Xi Jinping has announced to expand BRI cooperation to usher into a new stage of development and modernization of all partner countries. Now, addressing the inaugural session of Third Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, Xi Jinping said China, under the vision of shared prosperity, will pursue mutually beneficial win-win cooperation for all.
Yes, Maheen. Now, trade, people-to-people interactions, anti-corruption efforts, local collaboration, and ocean cooperation will be the focal points at this forum. The Belt and Road Forum is centered on the worldwide collaboration that unfolds amidst a backdrop of multifaceted global challenges, including conflicts all over the world, as well as a sluggish global economy. Now, caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haque also held meetings with the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, on the sidelines of the Third Belt and Road Forum. Now, during the meeting, the Prime Minister had a detailed discussion with the Secretary General of the United Nations on the situation arising as a result of the ongoing Israeli aggression in Gaza. The Prime Minister described the attack on the Gazans and the Gaza hospital as the martyrdom of 500 Palestinians, an inhumane and a serious violation of human rights. And now we're joined by Dr. Talat Shabir. Thank you so much for speaking to PTV World. Mr. Talat, are you with us?
Yes.
All right, what are some of the key topics or discussions at the forum that the Prime Minister has participated in? Would you care to elaborate?
Yes, I think Prime Minister has very important commitments at the moment in Beijing. As we see that currently, I think world is actually witnessing a very unfortunate incidences in Middle East between Hamas and Israel. So there's a lot of we are learning that there's a lot of talk going on in the sidelines of this Belt and Road Forum. And of course, it is a very important issue for the world, and they should discuss atrocities committed by Israeli forces over innocent people of Palestine. So one thing is sure that Prime Minister has taken up issue of peaceful settlement of issues of Palestine. Secondly, this forum is participated by 130 countries and 30 heads of various important global institutions. So it's a very important forum where you can discuss global situation and you can discuss for the atrocities being committed by Israeli forces. Now, second point, which is very important, is that Pakistan is also looking for some good opportunity with regards to advancing CPAC and taking advantage of Belt and Road Initiative and the forum that will discuss various connectivity issues during this meetup, which is largely attended by the entire world.
All right, now, Dr. Shabir, how does the Belt and Road Initiative fit into Pakistan's broader foreign policy and economic developmental goals, and what's the government's long-term vision for this partnership?
I think since China is into launching various initiatives, other than Belt and Road Initiative, we have seen that in the last couple of years, China has initiated the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative. No, these are the initiatives that China is actually launching, are aimed at one development of the world, particularly developing world and countries like Pakistan. They actually want to share various opportunities with the developing countries, and just want to advance their idea of common future and shared destiny and common future. So China is actually giving a big concept where they want to take the whole world along. And participation by such a large number actually manifests that China's policy, global policies of connectivity, business, trade, prosperity, and common future is actually working well. And the idea is actually getting into the hearts of the global leadership. So Pakistan can take advantage. There's a forum available to Pakistan, and then Pakistan can take advantage of getting benefits from. China has spent in last 10 years $800 billion on 3,000 projects of Belt and Road Initiative. Now, out of $800 billion that China has spent on Belt and Road Initiative, Pakistan could get only 25%, $25 billion. So we should aim at get more projects, more money, more investment from China. And we should also expand the scope of CPAC, and we can take advantage.
Right, Dr. Talat Shabib, we know it's a very important forum. World leaders are participating. Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar is representing Pakistan. And you also talked about investments. Now, how successful do you think would Pakistan be in having the investments that we need to expand CPEC, as Prime Minister has also met and will be meeting world leaders in business community? And also he talked about expanding, especially in the special economic zones of the CPEC.
As per my information, Prime Minister is meeting many world leaders on the sidelines of this forum, and we expect that that he would discuss various options and various opportunities that Pakistan offers to world community with regards to trade, business, connectivity, and tourism. And of course, his visit is supported by various steps taken by his government back home. And now there are policies in the offing which will facilitate businessmen and investors from abroad And I think it is a case that Prime Minister and his team in Beijing would be presenting to the world, and I hope they come back successfully.
Right. Dr. Talit, he also talked about the inclusion of Afghanistan in this project. He has welcomed the other countries who want to be a part of this prosperity project. Now, how important do you think is the inclusion of Afghanistan in this project of CPEC, and how would be the world looking at this?
With regards to Afghanistan, you can see the developments with regards to China-Afghanistan relations. China has finally recognized Afghanistan, and they also invited the foreign minister. Now, the one important thing is that unless we have peace in Afghanistan, unless Afghanistan is a friendly country to both China and Pakistan, unless there's a peace, the expansion of Belt and Road Initiative to Central Asia is it possible, but it would be, I think, very good option if we have a peace in Afghanistan and Afghanistan is on board. With regard to Pakistan and CPAC, we have from the beginning we have always advocated that CPAC should be expanded towards Afghanistan and then to Central Asia, and for that is why Pakistan and China are are advocating peace in Afghanistan. We want peace on the western border so that we can have a expanded trade relations not only with Afghanistan but to countries beyond Afghanistan.
All right, now, Dr. Shabir, can you explain to us how this visit fits into the broader context of the country's involvement in the Belt and Road Initiative?
Of course, since China calls CPAC as their pilot project, so completion and success of CPAC is important for China. So we are I think we're the first country who has a relationship with China has a kind of responsibility to complete this project successfully, because it's going to give I encourage the other models of Belt and Road Initiative. So we are into a very important venture with China in shape of CPAC. Now, many scholars in China also call CPAC, success of CPAC as success of BRI. So, and our Prime Minister, on the invitation of President Xi Jinping, is in Beijing. And I think both countries, both leaders would want the CPAC projects to move forward with speed and efficiency, and so that the objectives that they have set are fulfilled with the completion of this project. I think it's a very important movement for Pakistan and our Prime Minister to showcase what they have so far done for CPAC and what they expect in future.
Right. Dr. Talat, what other important global issues do you think might be discussed in this forum? Of course, we are talking about expanding CPEC, where we would be highlighting our success, we'd be trying to overcome our challenges. What about issues affecting Pakistan and the globe overall in a larger perspective, like climate change?
Yeah. Important issue is currently in the Middle East, where there's a lot of atrocities being committed by Israeli forces. And I think not only Pakistani Prime Minister, but all leaders who are in Beijing today must be discussing some way out of it, because it's going to be debated more and more intensely because of this conflict in Middle East. So the world leaders are concerned about what will happen to Middle East in the wake of these atrocities that are committed in Gaza and Palestine. Second important issue is also, I think, Ukraine-Russia conflict, which will be, I think, in the sidelines, which will be discussed. And I think the discussions with the European and Western leaders would be important with regard to these two major issues. And there would be talks about the international system and the global financial institutions, and how can they move further, because China thinks that the inclusion of global institutions in the financial order is important. That is why China has always supported global financial institutions, though they also make some parallel arrangement, but they are for global system, and they want that global institutions also are helpful to the public at large. So I think there are many important issues that, with regard to business, connectivity, and trade will also be discussed besides these two important conflicts that are going on in Middle East and Ukraine, Russia.
All right, now, Dr. Talat Shabir, just to kind of summarize, how do you characterize the current state of diplomatic relations between Pakistan and the countries involved in the Belt and Road Initiative? And secondly, how does this relate to Pakistan's participation in the initiative?
Right. Pakistan generally had good relations with the countries of the Belt and Road Initiative. And when we talk of CPEC, we, since beginning, we have been offering for the regional countries also to join. Even some we've offered India also to join CPAC with a view to take benefit of it. I think Pakistan's relations with BRI countries are fine, and wherever we want expansion of BRI, Pakistan has good relations with those countries, and we expect CPEC also to expand to Afghanistan and Central Asia. I think if this happens, it will be a great game changer, not only for the region, for Pakistan.
Okay, so now coming to the discussions and negotiations at the forum related to economic or trade policies that could potentially affect Pakistan's participation in the initiative, how does this align with Pakistan's national interests?
This CPAC, I call CPAC as an historic opportunity for Pakistan to change its economic landscape. So I think by doing it right and making it success, we will be able to bring in some prosperity and jobs for people. We can have trade, but for that to happen, I think we need to work on work footing to create a kind of enabling environment in Pakistan, so that countries other than China are also attracted to Pakistan to do business with us.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Talat Shabir, for your precious views on this important event. Prime Minister will be addressing high-level forum with a theme of connectivity in an open global economy. Of course, caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar, at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping, is in Beijing to participate in the third Belt and Road Forum that has begun, and also Prime Minister will be addressing the high-level forum with a theme of connectivity in an open global economy. Prime Minister will be talking about the development, the success that we have achieved under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor over the last 10 years, as well as highlight future goals and reaffirm Pakistan's cooperation on this key project. Also, during the visit, Prime Minister will be having bilateral meetings with Chinese leadership, including President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Keqiang, and other leading personalities. Besides, he will be meeting with the global leaders participating in the forum, and many important aspects would be talked about, would be deliberated upon, and he'd also be holding meetings with top Chinese businessmen, including heads of large corporations and businesses giants, to discuss forging cooperation, including joint ventures in Pakistan. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar talked about expanding the BRI. He would be talking about overcoming the challenges. He would be talking about the success that we have achieved so far regarding the province of Balochistan, regarding the jobs, the procurement of other facilities, and of course the Gwadar port, which would be a hub for trade with the regional countries, and talking about connectivity as well. And right now, these are live visuals on your screen where you are watching caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar, who is participating in the forum and who is representing Pakistan at this highly anticipated forum, and would be talking about the issues, about the challenges, about the success.
And to the old friend. The Republic of Serbia attaches the paramount importance to the cherishing of traditionally friendly relations with the People's Republic of China. I proudly underline that the bilateral cooperation between our two countries is currently at its highest level in history, first and foremost thanks to the great friend of the Republic of Serbia, the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping. That's why we endorse the Beijing initiative on deepening of cooperation and connectivity. Serbia is on its EU path, but throughout its history, Serbia has always been the east to the west and the west to the east. A country where the most important roads connecting Europe and Asia intersect. The topic of today's panel reflects the strategic orientation of the development concept of the People's Republic of China and its leader, a great friend of the Serbian people, President Xi Jinping, as the originator of the initiative which seeks to encourage closer cooperation among states and peoples through joint efforts aimed at solving global challenges and prosperity of all humanity and diligent work on creating an open global economy through mutual cooperation in order to achieve common benefits. We have witnessed the Belt and Road Initiative launched a decade ago, for which I especially congratulate the distinguished President Xi, growing into a global project of impressive scale based on the concept of connectivity, from infrastructure connectivity on land, sea, in the air, or cyberspace to commercial investment, financial, technological, communication, physical or virtual connectivity, all the way to connecting peoples and individuals through culture, tourism, education and science. The priority of this visionary initiative is cooperation in 5 key areas: intergovernmental coordination, facilities connectivity, unimpeded trade, financial integration and people-to-people bonds. And that is why I would like to recall the words of President Xi that the right approach to tackling global crises or challenges such as the coronavirus pandemic and realizing long-term development is through greater connectivity, openness and inclusiveness. And an old Chinese proverb that says, if you want to be wealthy, build roads first, could be reformulated today into, if a country wants to prosper and develop economically, it should build transport infrastructure first, roads, railways and ports. Dear friends, I can state with pleasure and pride that the People's Republic of China, together with the European Union, has become one of the most important engines of Serbia's economic development in the past 10 years, and that my country is a positive example showing that international initiatives such as Belt and Road are justified and effective. For a relatively small economy like Serbia, much like for the large friendly China, the last decade was a decade of progress, effort and restraint, frequently of challenges, but with a clear roadmap that through connectivity, networking and strategic cooperation through numerous projects and joint initiatives in which we are actively involved, we are firmly determined to build relations with other countries that share similar values and principles on the basis of trust and with mutual respect. We are proud of the fact that with our Chinese partners and friends, as a continuation of successful 10-year cooperation on already completed capital projects in the previous period, we are working diligently on the realization of new strategic projects in infrastructure, energy and mining worth several $billions that will bring Serbia new hundreds of kilometers of built important arterial roads, bridges, tunnels, railways, subways, sewerage, solar power plants, mines and factories. I'm particularly pleased to point out that the modernization of the railway connecting the Serbian capital with the capital of Hungary in the first regional project in the field of transport infrastructure within the framework of the China-CEC cooperation mechanism, and that we are very proud of the first 75-kilometer long Belgrade-Novi Sad section, which was ceremoniously put into operation in March 2022. Also, the arrival of large Chinese companies as investors put wind in the sails of further strong economic development of Serbia, which even the pandemic was not able to stop, and investors from China are today the leading Serbian exporters to the world. For the 3rd year in a row, China is the largest foreign investor in Serbia. In 2022 alone, an inflow of Chinese investments in the amount of $1.5 billion was recorded. Today, Chinese companies employ a little over than 28,000 workers, of whom 42% are in the auto industry, a sector that has generated a quarter of all foreign investment so far and has strategic importance for the further economic prosperity of Serbia, ensuring the growth of our industrial base and exports to the world and even greater integration of Serbian companies into European and global supply chains. Owing to the arrival 5 years ago of the largest Chinese investor in Serbia and at the same time today's leading Serbian exporter to the world, Zijin Mining Company, Serbia has become the second largest copper producer in Europe with a strong desire and intention to become the leader. I'm proud to point out that today ICT is the largest net export branch of Serbia. Our country ranks 46th among the world's largest exporters of high-tech products and 52nd among the world's largest exporters of IT. Serbia is the first country in the region of Eastern and Southern Europe to join the global partnership on artificial intelligence. We were the first in the region to adopt a development strategy in this area back in 2019, and I avail myself of this opportunity to thank our Chinese friends, who, with their 40 experts, provided us with a great deal of help in drafting this strategic document. We established the Institute for Artificial Intelligence as well as the National Platform for Artificial Intelligence. We are building the Bio4 campus, which will become one of the key bioeconomic hubs in Europe, which will secure Serbia an even stronger position as a country of innovation and high-tech development. Anyway, I will never forget, and that's what I have to say today, the visit of President Xi to Serbia in 2016. We had thousands of problems with our biggest steel mill, which today is #2 exporter of Serbia. And we didn't know how to resolve the problem. And we were begging, we made a big plea to President Xi to help us on that big issue. He promised that and he delivered on that. He brought Habis company from the province Hebei, and now they are one of the most successful companies in an entire region. No doubt the most successful steel mill in the region. And these are the reasons why we want one of the key areas of cooperation with the People's Republic of China in the period ahead to be the field of connectivity, industrial cooperation, innovative economy, development of artificial intelligence, smart mobility, biotechnology, digital transformation, and new technologies applied in green energy. We are interested in carrying out the construction project of the Mikhailo Pupin Serbian-Chinese Industrial Park with our Chinese partners, which would also include a high-tech park. China is Serbia's second largest foreign trade partner, and our merchandise exports have increased as many as 185 times over the last 10 years. In 2022, record figures were achieved both in the volume of commodity exchange and in individual exports and imports. I'm pleased to share the information that the free trade agreement between Serbia and China will be signed during my stay in Beijing. It has been signed yesterday in the presence of Xi Jinping, and I'm once again profoundly grateful to our Chinese friend. Last year, in 2022, we re-established direct air traffic with the People's Republic of China, guided by the desire to encourage a stronger connectivity between our people, tourists, business communities, students. Serbia and China have increasingly intensive cooperation in the financial and banking sector. Since January 2015, the Chinese yuan has been on the list of currencies traded on our domestic foreign exchange market, and the National Bank of Serbia is currently actively considering and working on including the Chinese currency in its foreign exchange reserves. Dear friends, President Xi recently said, explaining the strategic development course of the People's Republic of China, "The future of our new journey is bright, yet the road ahead will not be smooth." I believe that the same sentence can be used when we talk about the possibility of future stronger economic and any other connectivity among the states that are sincerely devoted to the idea of multilateralism and partner cooperation, as opposed to the politics of diktat and imposing the will of the stronger. The world today, as President Xi himself observed, is undergoing accelerated transformation unseen in the century, and the international environment is changing profoundly. I'm sure that all of us here are aware that the winds of change are again blowing through the world, and it depends on how we deal with this development, whether these winds will start the windmills of our development spinning or will become devastating hurricanes. By advocating for connectivity, we all together contribute to overcoming the first scenario, i.e., that the world, perhaps for the first time in history, makes a major economic and geopolitical transition by choosing cooperation and global development over comfort.
This is the Serbian Prime Minister addressing the forum. He said, we endorse the vision of China, the vision of connectivity, a country that would be connecting Asia with Europe in order to achieve common benefits. And he said the right approach to tackle global challenges is through greater connectivity, inclusion and openness. Also said without Chinese partners, it wouldn't have been possible for us to tap the potential that we have. Arrival of large companies from China and investors has helped the economy of Serbia. He said Serbia has become second largest producer of copper in Europe, and we hope to become the biggest. He said Serbia has joined the Global Partnership in Artificial Development, and China is Serbia's second largest trade partner, and also we have increased cooperation.
Good afternoon. I am pleased to be in the historic and beautiful city of Beijing to attend the third Belt and Road Forum, alongside many distinguished world leaders from the region and beyond. At the outset, I would like to congratulate His Excellency President Xi Jinping for his visionary and revolutionary idea of Belt and Road, which has been instrumental in changing the regional and global landscape. I would like to commend President Xi's address at the opening ceremony this morning and fully endorse his 8-point proposals, giving a new vision, a new roadmap for the next decade of BRI. The convening of the Third Belt and Road Forum, which coincides with the 10th anniversary of BRI, is a clear manifestation of China's continued commitment to common development, shared prosperity, and a bright future for the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to address this August Forum on connectivity in an open global economy. Throughout human history, the role played by the connectivity in shaping our world and our lives has been profound. It has been a driving force for human progress and economic prosperity. By facilitating travel and trade, sharing of ideas and experiences, advancing technology and innovation, and promoting cultural and people-to-people exchanges. Indeed, it was enhanced connectivity that resulted in the modern age of globalization, weaving the fabric of our global economy and transforming our world into global village. Distinguished audience, to me the idea of BRI, an essential element of concept of community of shared future for the mankind, is grander than just the physical aspect usually associated with connectivity. I believe that connectivity is not just about roads, rails, wires, and networks. It is also about connecting people, cultures, and civilizations. It is an endeavor for creating bonds and linkages that bind the people of our world together, and all of it in the quest of a shared future that benefits humanity as a whole. The Chinese concept of Tianxia, which translates as land under heaven, refers to the whole world and promotes diversity while emphasizing harmonious and mutual interdependence as a means towards enduring peace. I must admit that I am deeply impressed by China's view on development, especially the concept of inclusivity, which lies at the core of China's development paradigm. Ladies and gentlemen, as we must meet here today, our world is in the throes of a number of unprecedented challenges. Raging conflicts, the once-in-a-century pandemic, growing inequalities, yawning divide between the developed and the developing, debt burden, food and energy crisis, and climate change pose existential threat to our way of living. Unless we redouble our effort to address these challenges, we risk backsliding on some of the gains achieved under the UN Sustainable Goals Agenda 2023. Today, many regions especially in the developing world, still lack adequate physical infrastructure, hindering their ability to participate fully in the global economy. Addressing these infrastructure gaps requires substantial investment in transportation, energy, and digital networks. The digital divide also remains a pressing issue. It is essential to ensure that everyone has equal access to opportunities in the digital age. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan takes immense pride in being China's partner in this quest for inclusive and sustainable development. We are amongst the first supporters of BRI by launching its flagship project of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor in 2013. CPAC was operationalized during the historic visit of President Xi to Islamabad in 2015. As we commemorate the 10th anniversary of BRI and CPAC, we reflect on the profound impact of these visionary enterprises on the lives and livelihood of our people. I feel happy to share that in Pakistan, we have completed nearly 50 projects worth $25 billion under CPAC. The construction of modern highways, seaport, airport, and rapid mass transit system has improved our transportation network, connected cities and remote areas, improved accessibility, facilitating the movement of goods and people across Pakistan. CPEC energy projects have injected more than 8,000 megawatt of new electricity into our national grid, while nearly 10,000 megawatt of additional and clean energy projects are expected to be completed in the next 4 to 5 years. The government of Pakistan has taken steps to make Pakistan a trade, transit, and transshipment hub with secure, open, reliable, and efficient connectivity routes and borders, opening new vistas for countries to our west and beyond. Towards this end, under CPEC, Pakistan has successfully operationalized its deep sea port of Gwadar, with state-of-the-art facilities to handle cargo ships, facilitating transshipments to regional countries, especially the landlocked states. Soon, a new international airport would also be inaugurated in Gwadar, which is yet another step in realizing our vision of Gwadar serving as a hub of regional trade and connectivity. Ladies and gentlemen, CPEC is now poised to enter into its next phase, where it would be transformed into a corridor of growth, linking our economies and providing equal opportunities to our people. With this, we hope that a farmer in rural areas can access regional market for his customer, a student in a remote village can access world-class education, and a small business owner can trade seamlessly with his partners across regions. CPEC would also be developed as a corridor of livelihood, with dividends from its development reaching the common people, improving their living standards, creating jobs, and addressing poverty. I would be amiss if at this stage I did not commend China for its remarkable feat of lifting hundreds of millions of its citizens from abject poverty, providing them a better, brighter, and more fulfilling life. As we progress forward, CPAC would be a corridor of innovation, where Pakistan and China would join hands to advance our cooperation in the fields of IT and science and technology, with the aim of improving the lives of our two people. Another important facet of CPAC would be its development as a green corridor, which would serve our objectives of ensuring food security, agricultural modernization, green development, and environmental protection. CPEC as a corridor of openness demonstrates our sincerity towards making this development project an inclusive one, welcoming other countries and partners to join hand in this great venture. Distinguished audience, I would also like to take this opportunity to commend President Xi's vision for creating a global community with a shared future. The Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiatives, and Global Civilizational Initiatives have further redefined the concept of a shared community. This vision promotes cooperation, collective security, inter-civilizational exchanges, inclusive and sustainable development, and a balanced ecosystem in harmony with nature. This is the only way to address global challenges. China's rich cultural history, inventiveness, and values of harmony, benevolence, and wisdom have contributed to this vision. Pakistan deeply cherishes its unique relationship and strategic partnership with China, and is committed to working together to achieve the ideals of an open global economy and promote connectivity on transcontinental scale. We also look forward to joining hands with other partners across borders and regions to create a world where connectivity is not just a concept, but a living reality for every citizen of our globalized world. Our world is interconnected in ways that were perhaps unimaginable in the past. These interlinkages call for adoption of a new paradigm of thinking, cooperation, and shared responsibility. By embracing this vision and working together, we can create a brighter, peaceful, and sustainable future for ourselves and for our future generations. I'm hopeful that together we can shape a world where the bonds that unite us are stronger than the forces that divide us. Thank you. Share.
感谢卡卡尔总理。
This was Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar addressing the high-level forum. He thanked President Xi Jinping and endorsed the vision of connectivity for the next decade of BRI. He said, "It's my privilege to address this forum. Throughout human history, this role of connectivity has been profoundly played, and by sharing travel, trade, promoting cultural exchanges." He said it was enhanced connectivity that resulted in globalization, and the idea of BRI is greater than physical aspect of connectivity. It's about connecting people, culture, civilization, all of the people joined together in the quest of shared future. He said he is impressed by China's concept of inclusivity. Our world is facing unprecedented challenges, growing inequality, debt burden, climate challenges. Unless we unite, we won't be able to resolve these issues. He also said digital divide is also a pressing issue, and Pakistan takes immense pride in being China's partner for being inclusive development. He said CPEC was operationalized in 2015 in Islamabad, and we have completed 50 projects under CPAC, and he also said that we have built highways, infrastructure, technology, and it has given us greater connectivity. Also talked about 10,000 megawatt project that is to be completed soon. He said under CPAC, Pakistan has operationalized its deep sea port of Gwadar. A new international airport will also be built in Gwadar. And he said CPEC would be developed as a corridor of livelihood with dividends for common people. He said CPEC would be a corridor of innovation as well, with the aim of improving lives, and it will be bringing us food security and projects like environmental protection. He said we welcome other countries to take part in this, and I would like to congratulate President Xi Jinping for giving us a common future through connectivity. And towards the end, he said Pakistan is committed to achieve the ideals of global connectivity, and he said together we can create brighter future for our generations. This was Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar addressing the high-level forum, and the theme was connectivity in an open global economy. We'll keep bringing you more news. Stay tuned to PTV World. This is a breaking news just in. A statement that has been issued by ISPR. Pakistan has conducted a successful flight test of Ababil weapon system. This is a breaking news just in. A statement that has been issued by ISPR and PTV World is bringing to all its viewers that Pakistan has conducted a successful operation of Ababil. Pakistan conducts a successful flight test of Ababil, a weapon system. Of course, this is a weapon system and this has been launched by Pakistan and it has been successful. This is a successful flight test of Ababil, a weapon system. A statement that has been issued by ISPR and PTV World is bringing to all its viewers Pakistan has conducted a successful flight test of Ababil, a weapon system, and this was aimed at revalidating various design technical parameters and performance evaluation of different subsystems of the weapon system. This has been said by ISPR. The successful test flight that has been launched and been successful is a weapon system named Ababil, and also CJCSC General Sahir Shamshad Mirza has witnessed this test. And of course, this is a proud moment for Pakistan, where Pakistan has successfully conducted a weapon system named Ababil. Well, these were the updates for now. For more, stay tuned to PTV World.
ML1, the strategic Mainline 1 project of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is not about tracks and trains. It's about something much bigger. It's about partnerships, progress, and prosperity in motion. This state-of-the-art railway project is set to redefine connectivity and revolutionize transportation. ML1, the flagship component of CPAC, will be laying tracks for a brighter tomorrow. So don't miss the train and get ready for the journey. Stay tuned and we will keep you updated about the historic visit of Prime Minister Anwar al-Haq to China.
The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is connecting dreams and destinations through a network of highways. Thousands of kilometers of roads are weaving a corridor of opportunity and progress. As the roads and railways extend, so do the opportunities for trade, commerce and cultural exchange. Thakot to Raikot section of Karakoram Highway is undergoing a magnificent transformation. And that's not all. A highway from Dera Ismail Khan to Job will be connecting regions, transcending distances and forging new connections. Join us in celebrating this partnership. We will keep you updated about Prime Minister Anwar al-Haq's historic visit to China. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is connecting dreams and destinations through a network of highways. Thousands of kilometers of roads are weaving a corridor of opportunity and progress. As the roads and railways extend, so do the opportunities for trade, commerce and cultural exchange.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this PTV World Special Transmission where we are highlighting visit of our caretaker Prime Minister Anwar al-Haq to Beijing in China to attend the third Belt and Road Forum. Of course, you've just heard the speech of Mr. Kakar as well. We highlighted many important issues and also talked about those points of connectivity that join Pakistan and China under the ambit of the Belt and Road Initiative. Also talking about the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and the different opportunities that it has provided Pakistan with in the last 10 years and will be providing in the coming years as well. He has also, on the sidelines of this very important mood, met with many important leaders, including the Russian leader as well as that of Kazakhstan. He also met with the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and also met with the Kenyan Prime Minister. We'll be highlighting all of those, but we'll of course concentrate ourselves on the speech that was given by our caretaker Prime Minister. To talk about that and more, we've been joined in the studios by two guests. Let me introduce them to you one by one. On my very right is Mohammad Wasim Khokar. He is a senior analyst. Khokar sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Next to him is a frequent guest of ours and somebody who we regard a lot, Brigadier Retired Rashid Wali Janjua sahab. He is Director of Research, IPRI. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. Let's begin with you, Wasim Khokar sahab. Wasim Khokar sahab, you heard the speech by Anwar al-Haq sahab just as we did. A lot of emphasis on connectivity, a lot of emphasis on shared values, a lot of emphasis on economy. How important was this speech if you look at it from a layman's point of view?
Thank you, Omar. Thank you for inviting me. It's a high-level bilateral talks, you know. Prime Minister Kakar engaged in a high-level discussion with President Jinping and other Chinese officials. Both leaders exchanged views on strengthening economic and strategic cooperation between Pakistan and China. Signing of agreements, several bilateral agreements were signed during the visit, covering areas such as trade, infrastructure development, technology transfer and culture exchange. These agreements lay the foundation for enhanced collaboration between the two nations. So it's economic cooperation and investment, infrastructure development, technology transfer and innovation. And also they covered culture and education exchange program as well. And the seventh point is security cooperation. So this is a really very important,
a very concise you know, ambit of cooperation between the two countries. We've also been joined, ladies and gentlemen, online by G.R. Baloch. He's a former ambassador. Thank you very much, Mr. Baloch, to have joined us. I'll continue this conversation with you. Baloch, when you look at Pakistan and China as two important strategic partners and economic partners as well, when you look at the BRI and the CPEC, that as our caretaker Prime Minister said and pointed out, that Pakistan was the first supporter of the Belt and Road Initiative by launching China-Pakistan Economic Corridor in 2013, that was operationalized in 2015. Looking back, today we are in 2023, the third Belt and Road Forum is happening as we speak. What achievements has Pakistan made as far as strengthening the cooperation with China through BRI and CPEC?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I think we have to look at Pakistan-China relationship with a historical perspective. We were the first country to have helped China integrate into the world order in the world through the UN and other forums. So I think, and after that, Pakistan and China have developed those strategic relationships which cover all the entire gamut of our relationships. But how the BRI has become a game changer is that those notions of strategic relationship, those notions of historical relationship, those notions of friendship, deeper than oceans and higher than Himalayas, was actually translated into tangible economic gains and gains which are based on win-win concept as a great concept given by Chinese, where both the parties, that is Pakistan as well as China, gains. And I think when this BRI was initiated, that was the time Pakistan also was kind of at a critical juncture in terms of a takeoff or a direction, if you wish me to say that, for a new paradigm for economic development, which is so important for us after so many other issues that we suffered, the Afghanistan issue and terrorism. So I think we were at that time, 2013, we were at that kind of critical point in history of our country that we had to get rid of all that package which was there and move on into a new direction. So I look at it from that historical even point of view, that we had to open a new chapter of our not only foreign relations with the rest of the world and a new dimension to the Pakistan-China relationship, but a new direction to our entire existence as a country in terms of our economic prosperity, in terms of our social cohesion, in terms of our overall prestige in the world. After all, your prestige in the world and your voice is directly proportional to the economic development that you have, the economic strength you have. Why people listen to China today? Just because, not there are many other aspects too, but one of the major is that China is now a world global economic power and obviously technological power. So I think it was a strategic decision by our leadership to open this avenue and use BRI to kind of come up at that level where we deserve to be. We are 225 million people. We are a nuclear power, the only nuclear power in the Muslim world, 6th, 7th army in the world. And apart from that, we are even other indicators of Pakistan are amazing. Fifth largest producer of cotton, wheat, 6th, 7th, 8th, I suppose, in the world, and rice. So I think we have a extremely well-rounded up national power potential. So what BRI did was to channelize this national power potential into a tangible economic development model. Obviously, we had to kind of relate and we had to coordinate with the Chinese, but Chinese had a good experience over 3 to 4 decades of successful development. In fact, for my own self, I'll tell you my own experience. It was like amazing. As a diplomat, I went in 90s. I saw an ocean of bicycles in Beijing, and then after 10 years, 2001, I go there and I see an ocean of Mercedes-Benz and other cars. So I think that was beneficial for Pakistan to see that this model can be replicated or at least can be complemented through our own effort, through our own potential. Obviously, we are responsible. We got to really do ourselves. So I think, but there is still a gap in terms of what we need to do. That will come in our subsequent questions.
All right, all right. Balwant sir, kindly stay online with us. We've also have another guest. We have got 2 guests in the studios. Of course, one of them we've already talked to, and Brigadier Rashid Wali Janjua Saab is also patiently waiting for his turn. Janjua Saab, you've heard the speech, at least most of it. I'd like to begin with the last line of the speech of Mr. Kakar before, of course, he ended his speech. He said he's hopeful to shape a world where the bonds are stronger than those elements that divide us. He also talked about strategic cooperation between China and Pakistan. I'd like to understand, when you have a world that is deeply polarized, when you have a world where we have issues such as that of Russia and Ukraine, where we have the Palestinian-Israeli issue that is also rampant with and brutalities galore, also Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. How can we shape a world through cooperation with China and other like-minded countries to build a stronger region and a stronger world?
It's a 10th anniversary of BRI and CPAC also, and I think our Prime Minister very ably articulated what is the Pakistan's stated position to foster trade, connectivity and partnerships. So that brings in the desired synergy in relations. regional level and the global level. At the global level, there's a global power competition that is shaping the whole environment of regions also, of the globe also. And this region is no stranger to those dynamics. For Pakistan, China's cooperation and CPAC being a flagship project of BRI was an opening to the world, because we were famished of investments. Nobody was investing in Pakistan, and at the same time Pakistan's own economy that was facing serious issues. So when we talk of the region, the Chinese BRI, which spans continents, it encompasses 150 countries, spend more something like 200 billions already, and we have to take into cognizance the new realities that are shaping up in our backyard also, in the region also, at the global level also. At the Indo-Pacific, we know there is containment politics going on, and there are alliances with a militarized flavor like AUKUS, even Quad. So they are there to contain. Whatever China is bringing to the table is not to contain but to engage. So it is development versus a militarized version. So both are competing and jostling at the world stage for influence. And I think the model that offers opportunities, economic opportunities to countries like Pakistan and the rest of the countries, even a statement by President Putin that their vision of Eurasian Economic Union, it jibes very well with this BRI, because it's all about regional connectivity and multiplying the benefits of cooperation rather than hunkering down into contestation mode, creating isolated pockets, polarizing the world. So this is a project for Pakistan whose variant was a flagship project like CPAC, and we know that the first phase is over, and the second phase, in which 9 SEZs had to be operationalized, 4 are doing I think fairly good progress, and out of them 2 are nearly at 70 to 80%. So our emancipation and our job creation and the potential for economic transformation, especially for the provinces that our Prime Minister alluded to, Balochistan, during one of his conversations, that it would be having a transformative potential, that it should make a difference to the lives of people. 2 million jobs had to be created, 10,000 megawatts, those are just numbers, but whether it actually translates, whether it makes a transformative difference.
And he has given a deadline of a number of years in which all of this will happen.
Exactly. So we are into this completion of the first phase. The second phase is more challenging, and I think we have to pull all stops to make it happen, because the economic zone is a export-oriented concept. And for that to happen, your industrial policy, your entire ecosystem of economic...
has to be people-friendly and company-friendly, so that more and more people can come in.
Exactly, and we have to see the region, because Central Asia is very keen to engage with CPAC. Afghanistan is also keen. China is keen to engage CPAC with the North-South corridor, and Tirmiz, Jalalabad, Peshawar, Kharlachi. So those are the variants which can connect Central Asia with our Arabian Sea ports, which will reduce the cost of freight transfer to 1/3 compared to the other route which goes through Chabahar port. So these are tremendous potentialities. These are transformative initiatives, and I think if we capitalize with the consistency and clarity, that therein lies the big rub, because many such initiatives have withered on the vines because of the lack of focus, and they are founded on the rocks of geopolitical expediency. So this visit and a very clear, consistent articulation of Pakistan's position is indicative that we are moving in the right direction. All we got to do is to reap the maximum benefits and create those special economic zones at priority, make those policies which promote industrialization, because industrialization, the whole ecosystem of how industrial
and promote investment even from other countries. That is what Prime Minister Kakar also said, that he wants more and more countries, more and more organizations to come in and chip in as far as the CPEC is concerned.
Even in times to come, an East-West corridor might link up with that, because during the G20 meeting, there was a corridor which was proposed by India, IFMEC, which would link through the sea routes to the port of Haifa in Israel and all the way going to the European markets. Now that skirts Central Asia and South Asia, which is against the law of economic gravity, because the best integration of India with South Asia through land routes to West Asia would have redounded to their advantage. They are not doing that because of geopolitical expedients and their politics of containment, and that aspect has to be understood by both international community as well as our neighboring countries, so as to make this these corridors inclusive and a win-win
That is what
proposition.
he also pointed out. Inclusivity is one of the key words that I have heard many a times during his speech.
Absolutely. Those should not raise hackles as threats. Those should be treated as something that complements our endeavors at connectivity.
All right, Wasim Kokar Sahib, you know, when it comes to the second phase of CPEC, to which Brigadier Sahib also alluded to, our Prime Minister talked about the CPEC's next phase as a corridor of growth and an equal opportunity provider. And of course, a corridor of livelihood, increasing living standards, creating jobs, decreasing poverty. What should be the mechanism in order for it to do that? The government is moving in different directions, and of course the results are quite positive. But what, in your point of view, needs to be further added to that to give it more impetus?
Thank you, Umar. Umar, I think we should offer a one-stop solution services to especially the Chinese investor. You know, Chinese investor want to come and invest in Pakistan, but they are facing problem and due to, you know, the mechanism. I think we have to strengthen this mechanism, and also we will market this project as well. I remember we have done this conference in the context of CPAC in 2017 in Portugal. And the European even, they are taking keen interest, and they have no idea about that, and they are taking keen interest to invest in Pakistan, especially in CPEC. And this, the neighboring country like Central Asian country, I think we have to connect them as well. And we provide them, actually we have, recently they have developed a facilitation council. I think we have to strengthen this council as well, and we have to develop a facilitation center, for especially investor facilitation center in Pakistan. So it will enhance, it will help a lot.
All right, all right. Ambassador Baloch, if you're still with us, I'd like to understand, you know, the different aspects of cooperation that our Prime Minister alluded to during his speech to this Third Belt and Road Forum. He talks about the IT sector and the science and technology cooperation between Pakistan and China. He talks about the development of CPEC as a green corridor, wherein he adds agricultural modernization, the green development, and of course environmental protection. How achievable is this in the coming years, and what challenges do you feel we could have?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think we are in accord with Chinese priorities in terms of the themes that they are following in the BRI. In fact, they are going for the green energy and they are going for the digitalization of the economy. These are two major elements, are the legs of their conceptual idea behind BRI. So I think we'll have to kind of align ourselves. How do we align it? That is the biggest challenge. I think I'll take digitalization first of all. I think digitalization of the economy is a must for us, for our that we know that the future economic development depends on your digitalization. It can be from the taxation to your transaction, bank transactions, to your external internal trade. So I think we have to get into this boat of digitalization and learn from the experience of Chinese. So I believe we might have to send some people, not only the government officials. The other point that I want to underline, that our industrials have to be brought in. The private sector has to be brought in. What is more glaring, is a bit not very comfortable for me, is that this dialogue is mostly at the governmental level. I believe that the next stage, what we need to do is to bring in the private sector to be on the BRI and the CPAC board, by way of them understand what are those projects, understand the work culture of Chinese. This could even, if necessary, send delegations and our officials from the top management to the mid management to China, and see how do the Chinese processes work. May it be digitalization, or quality control, or the supply chain. So I think unless we understand these processes, so I think our human resource deficit is very important, in fact, aspect which we need to look at. Of course, we are discussing all very strategic things and so on and so forth, and historical perspective. But I think we have to go to the brass tack. And brass tack is the man on the ship, the man in the office, the man on the computer. How does he relate to this entire gamut of BRI? And also, it would mean actually to align our HR training, their orientation with the Chinese successful models. Why we invent our wheels? What for? So I think let's I think bring in, number one, I would say, the private sector into the BRI and CPAC. Number two, train our human resource people, and of course, very well point brought out that let's bring third parties into the CPAC. Why not? The Europeans, the Central Asians, and so on and so forth, and market this CPAC as a model of development for Pakistan, a new Pakistan, which is poised to be a competitive and a quality nation, which not only produces, consumes, produces, and in fact takes part in and prides itself as an important actor in the entire economic, political, whatever we say, the jargons, the geostrategic and geoeconomic ambience of the world. So I think we need to really look at afresh on these approaches. Yes, please.
All right. Brigadier Rashid Wali Janjua Sahab, I'd like to jot 2 points together from Mr. Kakar's speech, and like to have your concept on it. He talked about a Chinese concept of Tiansha, which talks of land under heaven. Then he also talks of Chinese President Xi Jinping creating a global community under a shared vision. A lot of talk of peace, of prosperity, of interconnectivity, of development together as one. This shared vision, how possible is it, and what needs to be done by countries such as Pakistan in order to properly contribute in this shared vision?
See, that shared vision is premised upon a triad, and that was a global security initiative. It started that the security initiative should be launched in the shape of economic integration, and also which should underwrite the security. Then the development initiative, that development should be sustainable. It should not be based upon one-off projects and the projects which just return economic returns to the investors. And then yet again there is a initiative, Global Civilization Initiative. The Chinese want to emphasize that it's a great civilization which believes in peace, coexistence, shared prosperity. So this is the vision which they want to propagate, and to act as an antidote to the negative propaganda against their projects, that China is binding the least developed countries into a debt trap. Kenyan Prime Minister is there, he was talking about that project which became commercially viable. Kenya went into debt and they are renegotiating. But the actual fact is that Chinese model is such that it is enabling the countries to develop the projects which are self-sustaining, and out of those accrue the economic benefits that the countries can do. So this that's the concept of the shared values and vision, which is not competitive, which has a heart, unlike the capitalism, and the heart is the people-centric development which should make difference to the lives of the people. Poverty alleviation, to take people out of the poverty. Now, give you the example of CPAC. One of the elements was that 2 million jobs would be created.
Yes.
People would be imparted technical skills. Their livelihoods chances would improve, and there would be development in inaccessible areas of Balochistan, Gwadar, and those areas, the land which was lying fallow would be cultivated and brought under agriculture. Now, India being a beneficiary of this agriculture, and they have a trade of chilies alone $1 billion with China. Pakistan has the same contiguous territory. Are places like Multan, Bahawalpur, and the third desert. That's ideally fecund for chili development, and already there are 6,000 agriculture technical people which have been trained by China. So all I'm trying to point out is that China's vision is that of creating meaningful difference to the lives through economics and through this sustainable development, which places the countries at an even keel rather than creating those poles where one country gets indebted. So this is a very useful rebuttal to the negative arguments of debt trap and all, because as we see our ML1 $6.7 billion US dollars, even that has been refused by IMF because IMF has a conditionality. Had it been to China, China is ready to engage with us, even provide the funding. But look at the two approaches, the capitalist approach and the Chinese approach, which is all development oriented under the overarching umbrella of global civilizational initiative, which promotes peace, connectivity, development, and economic benefits for all.
Okay, peace, development, connectivity, and these are the key words that we can take out, or of course a shared vision through the revolutionary Belt and Road Initiative, on which Prime Minister Kakar has also been speaking about. So did President Xi Jinping, and a lot of leaders are still speaking at the Third Belt and Road Forum, and of course we'll be highlighting more of that after a short news break, and then we'll be back with more guests to discuss more on this very important issue. Stay tuned.
Assalamu alaikum. You're watching PTV World. This is Maheen with the top stories for this hour. Pakistan conducts a successful flight test of Ababil weapon system. The test flight was aimed at revalidating various design, technical parameters and performance evaluation of different subsystems of weapon system. Launch was witnessed by General Sahir Shamshad Mirza, Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee. Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar says we have completed nearly 50 projects worth $25 billion under CPEC. Energy projects related to CPEC have injected 8,000 megawatt of energy in system. Prime Minister Kakar says we have successfully operationalized our deep sea port in Gaza. Under CPEC, a new international airport will be soon inaugurated. A delegation led by Chairman of EC Group Fang Yulong called on Prime Minister Anwarul Haq in Beijing. Chinese President Xi Jinping says his signature Belt and Road Initiative was meant to give impetus to global economy and connectivity through the revival of the old Silk Route. Giving his keynote address to the third Belt and Road Forum, he makes it clear that the revival of the old Silk Route does not mean colonization of other countries by conquering their territories. Russian President Putin addressing the Belt and Road Forum says Russia and China share the desire for equal cooperation in the world. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar reaffirms Pakistan's commitment to expand bilateral cooperation with Russia in trade, investment, energy, connectivity, defense, intelligence sharing and counter-terrorism. He expressed the commitment while talking to Russian President Putin in Beijing. Afghanistan is a safe haven for TTP terrorists. As in the video evidence, it can be seen TTP terrorists are roaming freely and giving instructions to attack Pakistani installations on Pak-Afghan border. An Israeli airstrike killed at least 500 Palestinians at the Al-Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza City, crammed with patients and displaced people. Palestinians described the attack as a war crime and a planned meeting of US Biden with Arab leaders cancelled. Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar strongly condemns the Israeli attack on Al-Ali Al-Mamadani Hospital in Gaza, causing immense civilian casualties. Prime Minister tweets targeting a hospital, a sanctuary for those in need, is an indefensible act of inhumanity. Thousands protest across several countries against Israel's deadly strike on Al-Ahli Arab Hospital in besieged Gaza that killed at least 500 people and sparked anger across Middle East and beyond. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres calls for immediate ceasefire, says attacks by Hamas on Israel did not justify the collective punishment of Palestinians. Foreign Minister Jalil Abbas Jalani will raise Pakistan's serious concerns about dire humanitarian situation in Gaza as he attends ministerial meeting of OIC Executive Committee. Pakistan beat Cambodia 1-0 to register first ever win in FIFA World Cup qualifiers history in Islamabad. New Zealand will take on Afghanistan. Rather, it's underway with Afghanistan today in the 16th match of ICC World Cup 2023 in Chennai. PTV Sports HD is telecasting the match live. And today is the 16th anniversary of a car SARS attack. more details and live streaming, log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. You can find PTV World page on Facebook and also follow us on Twitter handle @WorldPTV. From Maheen and the entire news team, it's goodbye for now.
The China-Pakistan economic corridor extends beyond infrastructure. It's about cultivating a shared future. Agriculture, the backbone of Pakistan, holds a 22.9% share in the GDP. Now, under CPAC, this sector takes center stage, as together they sow the seeds of prosperity. As early harvest projects under the CPAC take root, a new chapter unfolds where China's expertise and Pakistan's rich agricultural potential converge. Modernizing agriculture is at the heart of this collaboration. Join us in celebrating a partnership that nurtures not only fields but also the dreams. We will keep you updated about Prime Minister Anwar al-Hakka's historic visit to China.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to our special transmission on PTV World, where we are covering the Third Belt and Road Forum and the different leaders, the different world leaders who've been talking on this important forum. Our emphasis is going to be on the speech by our caretaker Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqar, in which he emphasized many important issues that pertain to the close fraternal ties between China and Pakistan, what binds them together, the shared vision that has been emphasized by President Xi Jinping. At the same time, he talked about the Belt and Road Initiative. Of course, the whole forum is on the Belt and Road Initiative. It has been 10 years since the BRI started, and as Kakar Sahab himself pointed out, that Pakistan was the first supporter of the BRI through its flagship project, that was the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, that was, of course, that began in 2013 but operationalized in 2015. Since then, Pakistan has worked towards different projects, as Mr. Kakar also pointed out. 50 projects have completed of worth around $25 billion US. He also pointed out too what should be expected in the coming years, whether it be through operationalization of different projects in Balochistan, whether it be through the 10,000 megawatts of energy projects that are to be completed in the next 2 to 3 years, and many other projects. He also highlighted the importance of the shared vision as emphasized by Chinese President Xi Jinping. To talk about that and more, the whole ambit of relations between Pakistan and China, and how important is the shared vision of Xi Jinping for a region that can be peaceful, a region that can be prosperous, a region that can be positive in its outlook. We've been joined by 3 guests, 2 guests now, and at the 3rd guest will be joining a bit later in the show. Our 2 guests in the studios, let me introduce them to you one by one. On my very right is Sarfaraz Ahmad Rana. He's an expert on China's foreign affairs. Thank you very much, Sarfaraz, to have joined us. Our second guest is our regular guest for our 7 p.m. show, but of course a wonderful analyst, AVM Ijaz Malik Saab. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. Let's begin with you, Sarfaraz, because this is my first face-to-face interaction with you, so I'm going to grind you first of all. Our Prime Minister congratulated Xi Jinping for his revolutionary Belt and Road Initiative. He said this is a new vision and a new roadmap for the people, and of course through the BRI. He also talked about connectivity in an open global economy. When you talk of an open global economy, when you talk of connectivity, and then you think of the challenges when you see the different regional and global issues that are plaguing the world in different forms and manifestations, how can countries such as China, in collaboration with Pakistan and other countries, move forward and strengthen this resolve that has been enshrined under Xi Jinping's vision?
Thank you for having me in your program. But we need to understand certain things. For example, we need to understand, first of all, the financing gap, infrastructure financing gap that basically requires to keep up the global GDP, to address the increasing poverty drive, and especially with reference to the developing world. I was reading a report from one source that says that $3.9 trillion are required to fill that infrastructure gap. $3.9 trillion, that is a whopping sum of amount, and no country has this much of amount. So that drive, or that alternative which is provided by President Xi Jinping, which is a signature diplomacy of President Xi. So I think that gives a sigh of relief to the developing markets. For example, Pakistan is one of them. And Pakistan, definitely China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, as you have mentioned in your introduction, the $25 billion worth project has been completed so far. And of course, there is no stop right here. Like, there are many promises, $60 billion. And of course, the most important thing, what is special about this Belt and Road Forum, that is that it is not just a one region, almost the representation from entire world, including the Americas. Argentina is also representing over there from Latin America, and also countries from Africa, countries from South Asia, Sri Lanka and Pakistan also. And the second another part, which is Russia, President Putin is over there. So that basically emphasizes that how important that is for the global economic health for this drive it is. And so, yeah.
Okay, global economic health, AVM Saab, and the challenges that are present on its route. What needs to be done in order to remove all the obstacles?
If we just give a reality check to the challenges being faced by BRI on its 10th inception anniversary, one is that immediately after the very promising, obviously, this project and initiative, we had pandemic. That was China was the first one to be affected, and then it sprang all over the globe. Then there is a overall economic meltdown. There is a recession trends globally. Thirdly, we had a China-America trade war that affected the participation, or it took the steam out from the countries which were influenced by the American side. And lastly, we had the Ukraine war, which changed the dynamics of geoeconomics in the globally, obviously, and more pertinent to the European theatre. So we have to view the challenges vis-a-vis the promises of the BRI through this prism. But having said that, Pakistan still continue to enjoy a very special status as far as our relationship with China is concerned, as far as the CPEC itself is concerned. CPEC is the project in the overall BRI initiative. It is referred to as a jewel of the crown in this project. But with Prime Minister has obviously covered a full spectrum. But with due respect to all analysis being done, I would say that we should translate this opportunity for our favor. There have been a lot of rhetorics in our domestic politics about CPAC being a game changer, or we have been rhetorics about our relationship. It has to translate into something substantial. It could be a game changer only and only if we really translate and tilt towards these opportunity for our own interest. No one from outside would ever, regardless of our rhetorics of sweeter than honey or higher than Himalayas, it's responsibilities on our shoulders to translate these projects or these kind of assistance to our favor. That is what is required.
Okay, we'll have to interrupt you. Mohsin Naqvi Saab is addressing the media. Let's take you live there.
فیصلہ آباد کا وزٹ مکمل ہوتا کہ اگر ایگریکلچر یونیورسٹی اسکپ ہو جاتی اور یہ کی بغیر چلے جاتا ہے. سب سے ضروری چیز جو مجھے خوشی ہوئی دیکھ کے کہ تقریباً 50% اسٹوڈنٹس جو ہیں وہ فیمیلز ہیں جو وہاں پہ موجود ہیں، لیکن تھوڑا ساتھ ساتھ پریشانی یہ ہوئی کہ ان 50% سے فیلڈ میں آ کے کام کتنی کریں گی. مجھے پتہ ہے لیکن ادھر والی سائز ادھر 50% نہیں ہے. تو کہنے کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ بہت اچھی بات ہے ماشاءاللہ، لیکن ان کو میرے خیال ہے آپ لوگ ساتھ ساتھ موٹیویٹ ضرور کریں کہ صرف یہ نہیں کرنا کہ یہاں سے گریجویٹ ہو کر اس کے بعد گھر بیٹھنا ہے، بیکاز وہ ہماری بہت بڑی انویسٹمنٹ ہے جو ضائع جائے گی. تو وہ میں نے ابھی آپ لوگوں کے اسٹوڈنٹس کے ساتھ انٹریکشن ہوئی، آپ لوگوں کی سوسائٹیز کا آئی تھنک وہ انرولمنٹ چل رہی ہے. ڈاکٹر آئی جی صاحب نے بھی آپ کی ٹیکس سوسائٹی کی ممبرشپ لی ہے ابھی، تو میرا خیال ہے آپ کے لیے بڑا فائدہ مند رہیں گے کیونکہ یہ اچھے خاصے ہائی ٹیک ہے. سب سے زیادہ خوشی جو ایگریکلچر یونیورسٹی کام کر رہی ہے، اور مجھے پتہ ہے کہ ہماری ٹیم بھی اس کو فل پش کر رہی ہے اور کوشش کر رہی ہے کہ ایک امریکن یونیورسٹی کے ساتھ مل کے ویٹ، جس کی اب تھوڑے دنوں میں کاشت شروع ہو جائے گی، اس کے بیج کے اوپر کام ہو رہا ہے یہاں پہ. اور اگر وہ بیج ہم پورے پنجاب میں کاشت کرانے میں کامیاب ہو جاتے ہیں تو تقریباً 3 گنا ہمارے اسی ایکڑ سے نکلے گا جو آج کل ہم کاشت کر رہے ہیں. اس کی ٹیسٹ رن تقریباً جتنی 2 سال سے ہو رہی ہے، 2 سال سے ہو رہی ہے. دونوں سال بڑے کامیاب گئے ہیں. ابھی ہم نے وہ ویڈ دیکھی بھی ہے. میں خود بھی اپنے ایگریکلچر ڈپارٹمنٹ کے ساتھ اور ان کے ساتھ رابطے میں اس کے اوپر، اور ہمیں اس کے لیے جو کچھ بھی کرنا پڑا ہم کریں گے، اس کی اپروولس کے لیے جو کچھ کرنا پڑا کریں گے. لیکن یہ پاکستان کی ہر چیز تبدیل کر دے گی جب وہی بیج 3 گنا زیادہ آپ کو فصل دے گی. اور اس کے اوپر ہم اسی لیے دن رات کام کر رہے ہیں کہ اس کو جتنا جلدی کیا جائے، جتنے چیزوں کو تیز فاسٹ ٹریک پہ کرایا جائے، بیکاز اگر اس سال تو ممکن نہیں ہو سک رہا لیکن ایٹ لیسٹ اگلے سال کے لیے اویلیبل ہو جائے تاکہ آپ کا یہ بیج ہر کسان کے پاس پہنچ جائے. اور ہر طرح سے وہ ٹیسٹ ہو چکا ہے بیج. دوسرا, اس ٹائم ملک میں سویا بین کا بہت بڑا ایشو ہے. یہ بھی بڑی خوشی ہے دیکھ کے کہ سویا بین جو ہم پاکستان میں سمجھتے ہیں کہ اگ ہی نہیں سکتا, اور بھارت تقریباً 15 سال سے نہ صرف اگا رہا ہے بلکہ ایکسپورٹ کر رہا ہے, تو ہم کیوں نہیں کر سکتے. یونیورسٹی ایگریکلچر نے وہ ٹیسٹ رن تقریباً مکمل کر لیا, اور اگر ہم سویا بین یہ پاکستان میں کاشت کرانے میں کامیاب ہو جاتے ہیں تو انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ اگین یہ وہ چیز ہے جو پاکستان ڈپینڈنٹ ہے سویا بین پہ, کہ سویا بین کے منگانے پہ وہ تمام مسائل حل ہو جائیں گے. تیسری امپورٹنٹ چیز چینی ہے, شوگر کین ہے. گنا پاکستان میں ڈیفینیٹلی ہمیں کئی سال شوگر منگانی پڑتی ہے, کئی سال ہم ایکسپورٹ کرتے ہیں, لیکن یہ بھی بہت اچھی اور اعزاز کی بات ہے ہمارے لیے کہ گنے کا بھی ہم نے تقریباً ایک بیج تیار کر لیا ہے. ایک کریڈٹ جاتا ہے ایگریکلچر یونیورسٹی کو, جس نے 3 گنا گنے کی کاشت ٹیسٹ کیس کر لیا ہے, اور میرے خیال میں اس ہال میں بیٹھے جتنے پروفیسر ہیں اس چیز کا کریڈٹ آپ لوگوں کو جاتا ہے. اب اس کو پریکٹیکلی فارم میں لانا یہ گورنمنٹس کا کام ہے. جو ہمارے ٹائم میں ممکن ہے ہم کریں گے, اور مجھے بڑی امید ہے جو آگے آئیں گے وہ بھی اس چیز کو ضرور پش کریں گے, بیکاز آپ خود ہی سوچیں کہ 1 ایکڑ پہ 3 گنا زیادہ جب کسان کو گنا ملے گا تو کوئی صورت ہی نہیں کہ ہم ایکسپورٹ نہ کر رہے ہوں شوگر کین. اور یہ کوئی زیادہ لمبی چوڑی بات بھی نہیں ہے, ہم اگلے سال میں ہم کر سکتے ہیں. یہ کوئی زیادہ لمبی سائنس نہیں ہے, صرف اس کے اوپر پش کرنے کی ضرورت ہے, اور جتنی محنت آپ لوگوں نے کی ہے. ڈاکٹر صاحب جہاں تک رہی بات ریسرچ کی, یہ میں آپ کو گارنٹی دیتا ہوں کہ ریسرچ ریلیٹڈ آپ کو کوئی چیز چاہیے, کوئی ریکوائرمنٹ ہے آپ کے لیے, جس دن تک میں بیٹھوں آپ کے لیے اوپن چیک ہے. کیونکہ ریسرچ کے بغیر کوئی چیز ممکن ہی نہیں ہے. ابھی ہمارے پنجاب میں کچھ ایگریکلچر یونیورسٹیز ہیں اور کچھ ریسرچ انسٹیٹیوٹ ہیں, اور ابھی ہماری لڑائی چل رہی ہے کہ ایگریکلچر یونیورسٹی نے زیادہ تگڑا ہونا ہے یا ریسرچ انسٹیٹیوٹ نے. منسٹر ایگریکلچر بیٹھے, ماشاءاللہ انہوں نے بڑی محنت کی ہے اس سلسلے میں, اور ہم ایک پرپوزل لے آئے ہیں انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ اگلے ہفتے 10 دن میں ہم اس کو جو بھی مرج کرنا ہے کر کے ایٹ لیسٹ ہم ایک ٹریک پہ چڑھ جائیں گے. ہمیں یہ نہیں ہوگا کہ اچھا ریسرچ انسٹیٹیوٹ کی علیحدہ ایک بنی ہوئی ہے اور یونیورسٹیز علیحدہ کر رہی ہیں, اور اینڈ میں ہوتا کہ کوئی بھی کچھ نہیں کر پا رہا. تو اس کو ہم نے تقریباً سارٹ آؤٹ کر لیا ہے. پھر ایگریکلچر ڈپارٹمنٹ میں بہت کام کیا, خاص طور پہ اب ہمارے چیئرمین PND ساؤ صاحب, انہوں نے یہ جو کاٹن کے اوپر کام کیا ہے میں آپ کو بتا نہیں سکتا, دن رات لگ کے انہوں نے یہ جو ہم نے پنجاب میں تقریباً 3 گنا کاٹن اگائی ہے, اس میں ان کا کریڈٹ ان کی ٹیم کا, ان کے محکمے کا بہت زیادہ ہے. ایک ایک بندے نے ان کے دن رات کام کیا ہے, اور اب زبردست قسم کے ڈائنامک قسم کے نادر چٹا سیکٹری ایگریکلچر آئے ہیں, اور انہوں نے بھی دن رات شروع کر دیا ہے, بیکاز ان کے آگے ابھی ویٹ کا ٹاسک ہے جو سب سے امپورٹنٹ ہے, اور مجھے امید ہے یہ کریں گے انشاءاللہ تعالی. باقی رہ گئی بات آپ لوگوں کو جو ٹیک پارک بنانا ہے, اس کے اوپر جو سیکٹری ایگریکلچر اور منسٹر ایگریکلچر بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں, ہم ڈیفینیٹلی اس کے اوپر بالکل کام کریں گے, اور جو ہماری مدد ہے ہم کریں گے. اس کے اوپر ہم ہر ایک اسٹیک ہولڈر سے بات کریں گے, اور ہوپ فلی اس کے اوپر کچھ نہ کچھ ہم ضرور موو کریں گے, اور یہ بالکل کرنا چاہیے. آئی تھنک یہ بہت بہتر چیز ہے. اب ہمیں جو اپنی ریسرچ کرنی ہے وہ تھوڑی کلائمیٹ چینج کے حساب سے کرنی ہے, کیونکہ ہمیں کلائمیٹ چینج تنگ کر رہا ہے, اور اس کے لحاظ سے ڈیفینیٹلی ابھی آپ کی سجیشنز بھی تھوڑی لیں گے, لیکن اس کے لحاظ سے ہمیں اپنے ریسرچ کو کرنا ہے. آپ یقین کریں کہ ہم ازبکستان گئے, آئی تھنک ازبکستان گئے, وہ ہمارا بیج لے کے گئے تھے, اور انہوں نے اس کی ریسرچ کی, اور وہ 3 گنا زیادہ کر رہے ہیں. ہم وہیں کے وہیں کھڑے ہوئے, اور جو مرضی ہم کہہ لیں, ہماری صرف اگر ترقی ہونی ہے تو وہ ایگریکلچر سے اور ایگریکلچر سے اور ایگریکلچر سے, ہم جو مرضی کر لیں, ये हमारी ठीक होगी, हमारे यहाँ सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा। और उसके लिए एग्रीकल्चर के लिए कुछ नहीं करना, सिर्फ आपने सीड की रिसर्च करनी है। एक दफ़ा वो आपकी ठीक हो जाती है, आपका सारा सिस्टम ठीक हो जाए। ये बहुत सिंपल सी चीज़ है।
Welcome back. You're watching the special transmission on PTV World, in which we are covering the Third Belt and Road Forum, in which our caretaker Prime Minister Anwar Kakar also addressed, talked about very important issues that pertain to Pak-China relationship as well as the Belt and Road Initiative. We've been joined by Saddam Hussain. He's an economist with PITE. Saddam, thank you very much to have joined us. It had been some time that we had talked on any show. Saddam, let's talk of the open global economy and connectivity that have been highlighted many a times during Mr. Kakar's address to the Third Belt and Road Forum as well as other addresses. How feasible is an open global economy under the current geostrategic and geoeconomic challenges that the world is facing?
Thank you so much, Umar. It is very, kind of a paradox where we talk about the open global economy. At the same time, many corridors like BRI has been initiated, at least introduced by the Saudi Arabia, India, and Istanbul and other countries. So it's kind of the competition is already brewing. But what is at our advantage that we are placed at such a geostrategic location that whatever the corridors and plans have been introduced or announced by some countries, we are at the pivot. If not pivot, then we are somehow an integral part of that a roadway or pathway or the crossroads. So we can attach with anyone, and without our attachment the corridors will not be complete. But with China we have a different history. It's a history of friendship, it's a history of trust. For China, as you said, how feasible it is for the global open economy, that is a difficult way and a bumpy road ahead. But at least China would like the friends like Pakistan and Russia in the region to secure their position and to take these on board, at least to start with such kind of a venture, which might give confidence and encouragement to the rest of the countries, and smaller countries in the region are also adding up. So it's the third time that this conference or this thing is happening in China, Beijing, and it is attended by 130 leaders. Speaks volumes about trust in China, their approach, which China has a softer approach in comparison to West. So there is a trust and there's a hope, and I guess people are just exhausted and tired of this bloody competition. So this idea might sell well, and coming it from the Chinese, they have a good history, like they don't have the colonialist history as such, and they don't have many conflicts in the region as such, and their approach is well taken by all sides, soft approach with wisdom. So this might be a plus point that the countries may keep on joining the Belt and Road Initiative, and this might be a successful, if not 100%, but to some extent more than 50%, it will be a success. So when things go beyond 50%, then the positive spillover effects will continue, and we hope that first that this region should have this kind of open economy connectivity within itself. Now Afghanistan, we have seen there's a bit of stability with the new regime. Chinese are looking very closely, and if things go well, so this region can be a hub of economic activity.
Let's hope for that, Saddam. Stay online with us. We've got two guests at the studios as well. Sir Faraz, let me go towards the unprecedented challenges that Mr. Kakar pointed towards. He talked about the pandemic, the inequalities, debt burden, food and energy crisis, climate change, digital divide. Many challenges in a world that is already polarized. But of course, through the ambit of the BRI, he talks about a shared vision and how to bring things forward. How can countries that are under the ambit, and of course Saddam pointed to the 130 countries that are part of the Belt and Road Initiative, how can all these countries, get together and through this shared vision overcome all these obstacles that have been pointed out by Mr. Kakar?
Well, you know, when China has something good to sell to other countries, as Mr. Saddam also has pointed out, that China has no history of colonizing the smaller countries, and as Henry Kissinger says, that China is the only country that pretends to be a nation, but it is a civilization from the past 5,000 years, and China has not even taken an inch of any country in the past 5,000 years. I mean, that is that kind of a profile.
It speaks volumes.
Speaks volume. So I mean, when China sells you something very good, like, you know, positive sum game, I mean, China does not ask you to allow China to get intervene into other countries' domestic affairs, right? So China is basically selling the shared vision. So everybody is willing. Why? Because as I gave you the statistics, some statistics, which is whopping, like 3.9 trillion is required for that given gap. So who would fill the gap? China at least has given the alternative, and especially to the developing and vulnerable economies like Pakistan. And it is not the developing and vulnerable economies, but the entire world is connected. As you mentioned, 130 countries, more than 130 countries, and almost all 7 continents. I mean, I think Viktor Orban is already there, from Hungarian Prime Minister already there. So there is a representation from Europe, there is a representation from Africa, there is a representation from South Asia, right? So there are many countries. So that is a positive sum game. And there is a VN, which is altruistic VN, win-win situation. So it's not something that countries are coming to join, right? And China has something, you know, to give to the world for the global prosperity, global peace, you know, the global GDP China is talking about, right? And China has a great history. So yes, so China has something to connect the other countries, like, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. ADM sir, when you talk of the future of CPEC, as pointed out by Mr. Kakar, he talks about this development as a green corridor of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. He talks about agricultural modernization. He talks about green development. He talks about environmental protection, as well as other aspects of this. We know how Pakistan as a country has been affected by climate change. This is also one of the challenges that he has pointed towards. What should be the main methodology of countries such as Pakistan to move towards that vision?
Prime Minister has identified, you know, key areas about our future engagement in CPAC and overall Belt and Road Initiative. But we have to see that BRI is also evolving. Once it was envisioned at that time, China had a forte in mega infrastructure development. So at that time the prime focus was to engage the world at large with the mega projects like dams, railways and roads, that kind of focus. But in the meantime, in last 10-15 years, China has progressed tremendously in high-tech environment. So now there is a realignment of the BRI, and the President Xi has highlighted a number of times his new vision of BRI, wherein now they are pursuing green technologies, now they are pursuing smarter solutions to bring socio-economic change in the communities that they engage. So Pakistan is an ideal partner where they can do their projects, their pilot projects in any of the fields that the President Xi has highlighted. For example, the poverty alleviation, the sustainable development goals, green initiatives, alternate energies projects. So I think Pakistan must bring on table the feasibilities, because some people see, or at least initially in our media, the way it was projected then, people see it only as a physical connectivity throughout the globe. I see it as a platform, a larger virtual platform, wherein the expertise and the opportunities which a country can offer to another partner. So we have to have people-to-people engagement, we have to have B2B engagements, in the periphery of BRI and CPEC. It's only then that we will be able to have a wholesome parallel operations into building up our infrastructures, revamping our energy requirement through alternate and sustainable sources, as well as a responsible nation, because we are one of the leading countries who are affected by the climate change. And we have to build our resilience, we have to do our capacity building and do all the mitigation measures which are being posed by the challenges of the risk that we are exposed to, of not our own doings but the industrialized world, what damage they have caused to the world ecosystems. So I think Pakistan has tremendous potential to engage. Secondly, the Prime Minister's visit is also due to in a region, Urumqi, where he is supposed to have engagement with the local businessmen, local leaders. So that engagement, because it's Xinjiang adjoining province with our GB, so I think we should pursue those projects which can bring short to medium term change in the economy and obviously then the socio-economic sector of Gilgit-Baltistan, because it will provide them a lot of opportunities for enhancing trade, their capacity building for new projects and harnessing the potential of that area.
All right, Saddam, coming to you, as an economist, I'd like to understand different perspectives of this speech, because I thought that the speech was quite rich and had many elements in it that we can discuss for hours. But I'd like to understand, when he talks of challenges, when he talks of food and energy crisis, debt burden, digital divide, do you feel the Third Belt and Road Forum is a moot where a pathway or a roadmap could be envisioned by all the countries that are participating?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, 130 plus leaders right there in Beijing speaks a lot, and they will have to think about it, and the growing tensions around the globe would compel them to think this way. And PM's visit in this all scenario is very important, because it also shows that China-Pakistan relationship is not dependent on some faces or some party or individual personality. So whatever is in Pakistan, their relationship is with the Pakistan, which is comprehensive in nature. They always want to strengthen it more and more. So our bilateral partnership is more important in this regard. Exactly as earlier speaker said, that food security and agriculture is very important. And I just recently wrote a report, and I recommended that in the short term, if we have to have short-term gains, we have to focus on agriculture and IT sector, because you can reap the benefits in like 4 to 5 months. Then I suggested medium-term strategy and long-term strategy. But what we need to understand, that our relationship with China and whatever we are doing, is signing agreements and MOUs, is fine. But CPEC is not a notch from heaven. We should not take it as like if it's happened and everything will be all right. We should look inside. We have to work on human resource. We should train them. We should have, because if the first phase of CPEC is almost completed, second phase will start, and industry and other things, when they prop up, our workforce will not be able to plug in. Then they have to bring in their own skilled workforce. So we have to change the overall model of our education system. We should focus more on skilled education and all that. And with that, we have to, bring some kind of stability and the positive signaling. And we are again facing the issue of the militant attacks inside the country in the tribal region. So we had seen the period of peace for a couple of years, a relative peace, we could say. So we have to, the real challenge is inside. We have to look inside. We have to put our own house in order. Particularly, we have to focus on the human resource. If we don't have skilled human resource, we cannot reap the benefits from the CPAC. And this is what happened with railway. Indian Railways was the revolutionary project in the subcontinent. But what happens with the railways, it's very much you are very much eyewitness. So it was as big as project of CPEC throughout India, but it's in like shambles. So if we have to take the benefit from CPEC, we have to put our own house in order. We have to bring certainty, the policy consistency, work on human resource, and work on supply chains and all that. So the real challenge is inside. As far as with China, it's all good. So I'm hopeful that in coming days, a much certainty, consistency of things will follow.
Thank you very much, Saddam, to have joined us online, and I hope to talk much more about you on the BRI and of course on different aspects of Pakistan's economy as well. Thank you very much, Saddam, to have joined us. Let's come back to this studio and my two guests. I'll have a last round of questions as far as the BRI is concerned, and I'd like to understand from you, Sarfaraz, first of all, when people talk of inclusivity, what do you exactly mean? How can you translate that into positive economic development?
Inclusiveness, of course, that you have to include every segment of politics, every segment of economy, and you have to basically focus on the inclusive approach, not on your approach, economic approach, whether political approach, that must be inclusive, and that must be multi-dimensional instead of one-dimensional. I would like to add something more towards your debt diplomacy and some other things you basically asked earlier, in which that the debt diplomacy or the string of pearl theories, or all these theories are basically the notions which are basically motivated and promoted basically by the West. So the debt diplomacy, which is basically to name and shame and the bash China, basically that is why? Because they see, the West see China as the revisionist power. They basically want to revise, they see that China basically want to revise the international order, but that is not the case. That is not the case. And China is basically just trying to focus on the on the global growth, as you mentioned, inclusive approach, through inclusive approach. An inclusive approach, that means that China is not focusing on one region, but China is just basically trying to strive to focus on the entire world, and not just on the one region, but all of the 7 continents. They start from basically the corridor is basically the corridor of peace, the corridor of growth, the corridor of everything, digital corridor, there are many corridors, and China is basically aiming to connect to Asia, Africa, Middle East, Europe, and every part of region. So that is basically an inclusive, global inclusive approach.
In this global inclusive approach, AVM Saab, when you look at the number of countries and the connectivity that is binding all of this together, that brings to mind a new, which she pointed out, world order. Whether it be indirectly, whether it be apparently or inapparently, there is some kind of a connectivity that is binding all of these. So you are seeing a new development of countries working together, whether it be on the economic sector, whether it be on the development sector, whether it be on a shared vision. But it is a shared vision that bridges communities and nations and brings in a new order as far as the global politics is concerned. Do you foresee that?
I think I would, beg to differ with him, because all these alignments, ultimately, this will amount to not a new world order, but in order to what is prevalent disorder in the world, actually, in my opinion. And this order will come because the alignment based on commonality of interest, the geo-economic interest, they will be more sustainable and durable, as the history suggests. So I think there will be a change, and change should be welcomed.
Okay. Yeah, Umar, just for the sake of clarity, I didn't say that China is basically trying to pursue the is just basically pursuing the policy to change the world order.
I understand.
Yeah, it is basically the West that see China this way.
Exactly. But the thing is, when so many countries work together for a shared goal or a shared vision on inclusiveness, this is how you create another group of nations that work towards a single goal, and that is will point towards a parallel not world order maybe, or maybe a parallel system, let's put it that way, that could prove to be extremely beneficial for all the countries involved. Let's come to Palestine, because I would wanted to consecrate the last few minutes on what is going on in Palestine. I'd like to also talk about the Al Ahli Arab Hospital massacre, in which more than 500 people have been killed by the Israelis in an attack. But the fact remains that, you know, when you look at the barbarities, when you look at the whole situation vis-a-vis Israel in Palestine and the way they are blocking Palestine, Gaza, of 2.3 to 2.4 million people who are, you know, enclosed in this small area without access to proper food, water, or electricity. How important is also a shared vision, a shared global vision, to help the Palestinians and to look for a two-state solution or any solution that could benefit the people of Palestine?
First, we need to understand, you know, why America came to invade Iraq in 2003. Under the garb of so-called, you know, the violation of individual rights, that, you know, Saddam Hussein is, you know, basically involved in massive individual violation of individual rights. So can't America now see that, you know, how massive the individual rights are being violated now? And where is European Union? I mean, their liberal values. Where are their liberal values? Where individual rights sits in the heart of those, you know, liberal paradigms and liberal theories. So they should now come to, you know, to speak on and to, you know, to speak on this issue, and they should control. And you know what I see, that, you know, this is basically and purely an Arab issue. That is and I think Arab brothers, they should take the lead. Why? Because now they have recognized Israel, I mean UAE, and they had, I think, a telephonic talk earlier today, right? And the Prime Minister Netanyahu has a few words with the Prime Minister, I think, President of the UAE. So I think the Arabs should take the lead, and Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and they jointly, you know, they come and take a lead and, you know, raise some voices. Why? Because of course, you know, the massive human rights violation. And another thing, that is the responsibility to protect, R2B, responsibility to protect. Now America should also utilize this very clause they have created shortly after 2000 September 11 attack. So now that is a collective responsibility to protect of Americans and the whole world. They should come. Why? Because there is a siege, there is a violation, there is a food crisis. More than 50,000 women, the pregnant women, I mean, they do not have the hospital facilities, right? So I mean, now the world should see, West should see, and European Union should see, and all the, you know, so-called civilized world, which is emphasizing when there is a little, you know, there is a little violation of individual right in the East, and especially in the Middle East, right? Vis-a-vis American violation is concerned. So nobody, Israeli violation is concerned, nobody is concerned, nobody is bothered. I mean, more than 3,000 people have been killed so far. 1 million people, I mean, total population is 2 million, and 1 million people have been homeless now. So why the entire West is silent? Why there is, you know, a pin drop silence now? I think West should come forward and they should speak. But above all, I mean, that is the responsibility of the Arab countries. That is the Arab cause, and Arab should speak. I mean, the Saudi Arabia, UAE, I mean, they should, form a joint response, a collective response for their Palestinian brothers. What is being done over there?
A collective response, is that enough? What more needs to be done in your point of view, AVM sir? When you look at the sheer, size of the massacre, the sheer size of the brutalities that is going on since the last few days, and the way the Palestinians are being referred to in the Western media, which is abhorrent to say the least, and we are already seeing the effects on the narrative that is being propagated in Western media of the 6-year-old boy, this Palestinian American boy who was killed by another American. Is this what we call human values that have been enshrined in the so-called Western culture and civilization?
Obviously not. And while the general public sentiment all over the globe is in favor of the Palestinians and people of Gaza, because no person with any sane mind would ever endorse what kind of brutalities are being committed there. But unfortunately, as my worthy colleague has highlighted, essentially it is a human right violation issue, but the chronic problem is of a region, the Middle East region, ever since the 1948, and it has to be resolved to see as a solution whichever is suitable to all these stakeholders. And this can only be re-emphasized and ensured by the regional powers. They should not be apologetic in their attitude, because somehow there is a shade of the religious tinge in this entire issue. While it has some linkages with the faith of the Jewish faith or the Christianity or the Muslims, but essentially it is the land, it is the people whose identity or whose integrity is being challenged, or they are facing the genocide. So if we keep the religious sentiment aside for the time being and see it as a standalone human right violation, which should be projected and pursued vigorously, because no nation, no responsible member state of the UN can ever support any such things. It is the violation.
But the fact remains that there is a duality or a certain hypocrisy when it comes to dealing with the same issue in some countries and in other countries. Thank you very much to the both of you to have joined us, Sarfaraz as well as AVM Saab to have joined us to talk about China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the BRI, the third Belt and Road Forum that is going on, as well as the Palestinian issue. These are two important issues, but two important parallels as well. One that goes towards development, the other that is going towards destroying or barbarism or destroying all kinds of human rights values as well. Let's hope some kind of sanity prevails. That's all we can hope for, and let's hope also that the Middle East and countries in the Middle East take some kind of initiative from this inclusiveness or this shared vision as enshrined by Xi Jinping. We look forward to that in the future as well. Allah Hafiz.
To defend themselves and become the biggest, strongest, and the most modern technology in the region. With that, they couldn't defend themselves against a small group of Palestinian armed people, which means to get peace and stability, you don't need more war and more killing and more crimes and more robbings. To getting peace, you need to believe that all human beings are equal. When Palestinian killed, it is equal to Ukrainian killed. It is equal to American killed. When it is
खेत कल्याण गोह दमन फूल चमन इस नीलगो आसमां तले समेटा है मैंने अंदर अपने इस जहां की हर दौलत को मैं हूं अर्ज़ पाकिस्तान।
see on your screens, these are live visuals coming to you straight from Beijing, China, where Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqar has met the Premier of China, Li Qiang. Again, this is an exhilarating moment for Pakistan and China as the two leaders reaffirmed the time-tested ironclad friendship between Pakistan and China. The the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Anwar al-Haqqaqar, is holding meetings with different dignitaries attending at the Third Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, and there he has met the Premier Li Qiang of China. They have also agreed to deepen the political, economic, education, science and technology, cultural and people-to-people relations. They are agreeing on a variety of cross-cultural and professional events and activities where both countries shall be prospering. The both leaders have affirmed their ironclad friendship and their time-tested friendship. Pakistan and China are collaborating on the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is a journey towards economic regionalization in the globalized world. It is founded on peace, development, and a win-win model for all parties involved. Again, the Prime Minister, Anwar al-Haqqaqar, is in Beijing to attend the Third Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, China, along with 130 international dignitaries and 30 international organization heads who are present there.
Well, these were the updates for now. Now we take you towards the bulletin for this hour. I'm Maheen. Joining me is Naila. Let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqar says 50 development projects worth $25 billion have been completed under China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and it is now entering into a new phase of corridor of growth.
A delegation led by chairman of the East Sea Group, Fang Yulong, called on Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqar in Beijing.
Chinese President Xi Jinping says his signature Belt and Road Initiative was meant to give impetus to global economy and connectivity through revival of the old Silk Route. Giving his keynote address of the Third Belt and Road Forum, he makes it clear that the revival of old Silk Route does not mean colonization of other countries by conquering their territories.
An Israeli airstrike has killed at least 500 Palestinians at the Al-Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza City, crammed with patients and displaced people. Palestinians described the attack as a war crime, and a planned meeting of the U.S. President Joe Biden with the Arab leaders has been cancelled.
Prime Minister Anwar al-Haqqaqar strongly condemns the Israeli attack on Al-Ahli al-Mamadani Hospital in Gaza, causing immense civilian casualties. Prime Minister tweets, targeting a hospital, a sanctuary for those in need, is an indefensible act of inhumanity.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for immediate ceasefire, says the attacks by Hamas on Israel did not justify the collective punishment of the Palestinians.
Pakistan conducts a successful flight test of Ababil weapons system. The test flight was aimed at revalidating various design, technical parameters and performance evaluation of different subsystems of weapons system. Launch was witnessed by General Sahir Shamshad Mirza, Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee.
Afghanistan win the toss, elect to field against New Zealand in the 16th match of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 in Chennai. Watch all of the action live on PTV Sports HD.
And Pakistan. Today is the 16th anniversary of a car-sass attack occurred on the route of the motorcade carrying former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto on her return to Pakistan on 18th of October 2007.
There is no bilateral relationship more important and consequential for Pakistan than its friendship with China.
Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar, addressing to the Third Belt and Road Initiative Forum, has said that Pakistan has completed nearly 50 projects worth $25 billion in the China-Pakistan economic corridor. The Prime Minister also said the corridor is now entering into its second phase of growth. Let's see more in this report by our correspondent Rahul Basharat.
Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar is attending the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation being held in Beijing. Addressing the high-level forum of Belt and Road Initiative titled Connectivity in an Open Global Economy, the Prime Minister congratulated the Chinese leadership on the successful organization of the Third BRF. He appreciated President Xi's vision for creating a global community with shared future and the Belt and Road Initiative. Prime Minister also extended support to President Xi's 8-point agenda unveiled in the forum. Prime Minister Kakar highlighted the crucial role of China-Pakistan economic corridor in generating new economic opportunities in Pakistan.
I feel happy to share that in Pakistan, we have completed nearly 50 projects worth $25 billion under CPAC. The construction of modern highways, seaport, airport, and rapid mass transit system has improved our transportation network, connected cities and remote areas, improved accessibility, facilitating the movement of goods and people across Pakistan. CPEC energy projects have injected more than 8,000 megawatt of new electricity into our national grid, while nearly 10,000 megawatt of additional and clean energy projects are expected to be completed in the next 4 to 5 years.
He also said China-Pakistan economic corridor is entering to new phase.
CPEC is now poised to enter into its next phase, where it would be transformed into corridor of growth. Under CPEC, Pakistan has successfully operationalized its deep sea port of Gaza, with state-of-the-art facilities to handle cargo ships, facilitating transshipments to regional countries, especially the landlocked states. Soon, a new international airport would also be inaugurated in Gaza, which is yet another step in realizing our vision of Gaza serving as a hub of regional trade and connectivity.
The Prime Minister underlined the need for a united global response to address complex transitional challenges faced by humankind under the Sustainable Development Goals and 2030 Agenda. He emphasized the urgency of addressing infrastructure gaps in the developing world by investing in transportation, energy and digital economy.
Prime Minister Anwarul Haque Kakar has met with a delegation led by Chairman of the East Sea Group, Fang Yulong, in Beijing. During the meeting, the Prime Minister informed the delegation about the government's business-friendly policies. He told that the government is taking the steps to facilitate the business and investment for economic development. He further mentioned that the government is encouraging the private sector and creating a conducive environment for them to play an effective role in the economic growth. In the meeting, Fang Yulong informed the Prime Minister that the East Sea Group is investing in the Gwadar Free Zone. particularly in the refinery sector. He also mentioned that Chinese companies have a strong interest in increasing their investments in Pakistan. The Prime Minister welcomed the EC Group's interest in investing in Pakistan and recognized Gwadar as a key part of Pakistan's economic development and the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The Prime Minister emphasized that Pakistan and China have a long-standing friendship, and China has consistently supported Pakistan during challenging times.
Highlighting the progress of China's Belt and Road Initiative and charting the way forward, President Xi Jinping has announced to expand BRI cooperation to usher into a new stage of development and modernization of all partners' countries. Now addressing the inaugural session of 3rd Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, Xi Jinping said China, under the vision of shared prosperity, will pursue mutually beneficial win-win cooperation for all. More in this report by Hassan Tariq Bhatt.
Chinese President Xi Jinping said over the past 10 years, the Belt and Road international cooperation has grown rapidly. The cooperation has extended from the Eurasian continent to Africa and Latin America, and more than 150 countries and 30 international organizations have signed cooperation documents. Charting the way forward, Xi Jinping said China will take 8 major steps to support high-quality Belt and Road cooperation, including development of China-Europe Railway Express, Trans-Caspian International Transportation Corridor, and establish pilot zones for Silk Road e-commerce cooperation.
We will vigorously integrate ports, shipping and trading services under the Silk Road Maritime and accelerate the building of the new international land-sea trade corridor and the Air Silk Road. The China Development Bank and the Export-Import Bank of China will each set up a 350 billion yuan financing window. An additional 80 billion yuan will be injected in the Silk Road Fund. Together, they will support BRI projects.
Underscoring the success of BRI, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russia's vision is in tune with China's plans, which seeks cooperation instead of rivalry.
Russia and China, as well as the majority of states of the world, share the aspiration for equal and mutually beneficial cooperation in order to reach comprehensive, sustainable and long-term economic progress, at the same time respecting civilizational diversity and the right of every state for their own development model.
Earlier, Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakad arrived at the venue to participate in the 3rd Belt and Road Forum of International Cooperation and had a photo sessions with the participants before the opening of the summit.
Addressing the forum, Russian President Vladimir Putin said China, Russia